I think, you know, we're moving from one type of property, a townhouse, to another type of property, a single family. So there's some nuances that go into each of those, right? On one hand, you're dealing with a shared wall. On the other hand, you're dealing with a much larger footprint and a much older house too, that has a lot of other things that have to be considered, right? And so I felt like Kelly handled both of those types of properties very well. Um, and felt like he really listened to us in terms of what we were looking for on the buy side, and really represented us well on the sell side by having his team, Judy, stage the house, and it just all worked out very, very, very well and very seamlessly.
Yeah, and then I think what I would add to that is, we were working with really compressed timelines. We pretty much made an offer on the existing house that we're in now, and then as soon as that was accepted, really had to turn around and list our townhouse. And I think Kelly really relieved a lot of the anxiety we were feeling around that because he was so detailed, his communication was so spot on. I remember receiving like this wonderful outline from him that really like laid out bullet by bullet all the dates, all the things we needed to hit. And so for us, that really gave us a lot of peace of mind in terms of, okay, he's got this. Like we can let him take the reins. We don't have to worry about this part. He's got this under control. And so I think for us, that really helped make the process, which could have been really stressful, feel a lot more seamless.
We had actually interviewed a few other agents, and the initial gut reaction that I think we both got from Kelly was that A, he listened to us. B, he wasn't a pushy agent purely focused on generating commission. We truly felt like he understood our situation and understood what needed to happen for us to reach our goals. Um, and so we were very happy that that referral worked out well. Yeah, it's interesting. In the world of real estate, there's a lot of different personalities, and there's a lot of different ways of going about business. And I think the first thing that really struck me with Kelly, and this may sound just a little too cliched, but it just felt like he had a lot of integrity and a lot of really deep knowledge. Having experience on the development side of the real estate business, having an understanding of what actually goes into the construction of homes, having a really solid knowledge of the transaction itself, and not having to rely on maybe some national back office staff that's feeding you advice on what you should do here and what you should do there. Um, I think the biggest compliment that I think that I can pay to Kelly is that we're fully understanding that in the world of real estate and the world of financial markets, whatever it is, there are things that you can control and there are things that you can't, right? And he's just a master of the things that he can't control.
I think there was also too a level of professionalism that we felt like with Kelly that was really elevated above a lot of the other real estate agents that we spoke to. And I think that Craig's use of the word integrity was perfect because it really felt like he was trying to find a home for us that was really going to work for our family, our growing family, and that he wasn't just trying to close the transaction, that he wasn't going to just put us in the first house and kind of try and sell it to us. I mean, he really was, I feel like, invested in our end goal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a prime example of that I can think of, that we found what I thought was a really good house, had beautiful curb appeal, was recently updated on the inside, and at face level, you know, we thought it was going to be one that we wanted to put an offer on. And Kelly started kind of poking around a little bit and showed us different things, and gave us reasons to think further. It wasn't a initiative on his part to say you should not bid on this, right? His objective was to give us all of the information so that we can make the decision ourselves. And I think that's what you want in an agent relationship, right? When you think about the word agency, right? you want somebody providing you the best advice so that you can work together to make that decision.
I think we were curious if staging was going to be provided, if he had a contact that he worked with, and also if that was something that was going to be included as part of the scope of our relationship with him. I think a lot of times you work with agents and that's something that's either not included or that's the responsibility of the person to go ahead and pay for. And so I think that was a big added bonus for us that we were able to, one, utilize Judy and her expertise. She did beautiful work. And two, that was not something that we had to pay for out of pocket.
Yeah.
I think we were interested, since we were moving from Seattle to Edmonds, what his experience was like outside of Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was another thing that was really reassuring, is he communicated that even though he didn't work a lot in this area, that he had sold a house. He joint listed it with another agent, and that he was willing to kind of go outside and split the commission to work with another agent who knew the area better. And again, I think that really speaks to his integrity and his willingness to really want to do the best job for his clients. And I think that also made us feel a lot more comfortable working with him in the Edmonds area, that if he didn't know something about the exact part of Edmonds, that he had the right contacts to reach out to get that information.
Yeah, and that he was honest about it up front.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't try to oversell his knowledge of the area to gain a new client, and that's a bigger selling point to me. Is that you're forthright and that I can trust that you're at least giving me your honest opinion and your honest knowledge.
We had questions, I think, around how many other people he was working with at the time. We wanted to make sure that we were able to get the level of attention that we needed. And I definitely feel like we did get that attention.
Yeah, we're pretty type A personalities as well. And so we had some questions around communication preferences and how he chooses to communicate with his clients, whether it's once the transaction is in the process of closing or as we're in the home search process. And I have to hand it to him in that regard. We would send him some emails or texts fully expecting to hear back like the next day. Not incredibly important things. And he would respond pretty much right away. And it'd be, like at dinner time or even much later at night. And again, that wasn't an expectation of ours. And so we were very pleasantly, I think, surprised that the line of communication was that open.
It was a question that we asked, for sure. We were curious about the percentage, but it wasn't a leading decision factor for us. Obviously, we could have gone with, say, a Redfin and paid a considerably lower commission fee. And I think that we were willing to pay more on that commission fee in exchange for what we felt like was going to be a better provided service. And I think ultimately we saw that, we were in a townhouse setting that had a couple of other units that were nearly identical to ours. There was one across the way from us that had been listed by Redfin. It sat on the market for months. They had to drop the price. And so I think we were feeling really nervous going into that process. And the way Kelly marketed it, priced it, we got multiple bids within a week of listing it. So I think that really speaks to his work, and also, again, being willing to give up some of that commission in exchange for better service.
Yeah, and I think in regards to just commission, do we feel like we got what we paid for? Absolutely, and then some.
I think before we had engaged with Kelly, we had on our own went to a number of open houses in Edmonds just to get a feel for the neighborhood and different houses out here. So we probably saw about 4 on our own. This was actually only our, I think, second house that we viewed with Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously had sent us multiple different options via email that we had sorted through. This particular house was actually a house that we had seen that was slightly above our initial price range. And so Craig and I on our own had kind of just booted it out of the consideration set, and Kelly brought it back to us, pointed out that it had sat on the market for a little while, that we might be able to go under asking. And he ultimately obviously was able to get us a great deal on this house that was under ask. He got us over ask on our house in West Seattle. And so I really don't think we would have been in this house or even looked at this house if it hadn't been for Kelly.
Yeah, and I think a big clarifying point on that to add on to Jesse's comment as well is, we, with his guidance, we were able to not only get under asking price, but 15,000 under appraisal value, which was pretty surprising and obviously something we're very happy about. I enjoyed the process. It's normally a stressful process in itself. And I think some of the things that can make it enjoyable are the education component that comes along with it, gaining a better understanding of how to structure a successful bid and to feel comfortable that somebody has your back with it. And so that made the process pretty enjoyable. It also was enjoyable from the fact that on the paperwork side, there were some kind of funky things with our existing property, because, or not our existing property, the property we bought, because it's kind of two lots, and he just understood everything that needed to go into the actual paperwork and legalese of that. And so in kind of an odd way, it made it fun that we knew we didn't have to dot any of the I's or cross any of the T's ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think he made it as enjoyable of a process as it could have been, considering the stress of selling and buying at the same time, especially at the time we had a 1.5-year-old. But I mean, we have since recommended, honestly, Kelly to all of our subsequent friends and to my brother on selling their properties. We really think very highly of Kelly and the work that he did.
Yeah, and I've actually also recommended him to some of my personal clients as well.